I'm your host, Kelly Morgan, indie author and indie publisher. Welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic. Welcome to today's episode. Hey everybody, Kelly here, indie author, indie publisher, and welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic. And you know it's Monday because we have a guest. And I'm so grateful and so honored to have Ryan Estrada. He is a phenomenal artist. I've been looking at your stuff. He's an author and he's an adventurer. And so he is here to share the platform. And I'm just going to be quiet because he's got so much going on his website, you guys. I got lost in the website. So I'm going to be quiet. Ryan, thank you so much for being a part of the Author's Mic. Welcome. Of
Course, thank you for having me. So I notice that you usually start off with people's journey to
Yeah,
becoming
I'd
an
love to
author, and
find out like how people got here because everybody has a difference. Nobody says when they grow up this is what they want to do, but they find themselves doing this. So what is your story?
yeah, well, I guess I'm the opposite of what you usually get then because my mom says I learned to talk so I could tell her I was going to be a professional cartoonist.
Cool.
Like it just as a baby, that's I knew what I was going to do before I could form memories. And there was one point where I decided I've been doing this long enough, it's time to go pro. I'm going to start pitching my work to magazines and newspapers. I was 6 years old. And I got very lucky that I had a family, I had parents, I had teachers, I had librarians, that not a single one of them said, yeah, that it doesn't work that way. You can't get a job as a professional cartoonist when you're six. And they all supported me and encouraged me and helped me mail out packets. And one newspaper was very polite and just said, yeah, we'll keep your work on file, kid. Just like kind of the polite blow off. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm in. Like as soon as like Jim Davis dies, I get that spot in the comic section. And so I kept bothering them every year for a decade until they finally hired me when I was 16. And I've been making comics professionally ever since. And it's just what I've always loved to do. I love telling stories. Now the types of stories that I make changed because all those early comics were just like the first comic I got published was called Pet Peeves, and it was about an orange cat who's too lazy to chase mice. And that's because my only life experience was reading Garfield. But I ended up going to animation school and I graduated the year that the entire animation industry got laid off and there were zero jobs. And I'm like, oh no, I just spent 4 years getting a degree that's now useless. What do I do? And I got a job teaching English in Korea, and I realized that like, oh wait, I love comics. I can make comics wherever I am, and I love traveling so much. Why don't I just keep doing that? And I kept moving to a new country every year, and I was just so inspired by the places I traveled, the people I met, the experiences that I had, all the trouble I got into. You know, like some of it was amazing stuff, some of it was when I was accidentally sleeping on a park bench in a typhoon in Japan, when I was thrown from a moving train by the police in India, when I got lost in the Masai Mara and was almost eaten by lions. But also like the amazing cultural experiences that I had, and like just wanting to share that with the world and be like, have you guys seen all this stuff? You know, all this cool stuff's out there. So I try to write books that share my excitement about the world and things you can learn about it, things you can experience, and try to get other people as excited as I am. And so I've made a lot of books. You know, we the one that changed my life is Banned Book Club. This is again based on people on my travels, but also my wife because I married her. But after years and years of knowing my wife, I she casually mentioned how she used to be hunted down by the police for smuggling banned books across Korea, and I'm like, how did I not know any of this? I posted about it online. We were offered a book deal, and then that got so much attention. We started making follow-ups to that. We have No Rules Tonight, Good Old Fashioned Korean Spirit, that are more of her stories. We have Occulted, that is my friend Amy Rose's true story of escaping UFO death cults. And not all of them are nonfiction. I also do like Student Ambassadors, my kids' book series that is fiction, but it's inspired by real places I traveled.
Are those all just print or can you open the book? Are they
Yeah,
illustrated or are they all just
yeah.
print?
These are all graphic novels.
That is so cool. That
Yeah,
is
so
cool. I
it's
love a good graphic novel. I do.
yeah. Yeah, I write many, many things. I've written prose, I've written movies, I've written short films, but comics is my one love. And I just keep doing it. And I kind of, that's how I live my life is I travel the world having experiences and I filter them all into what kind of art am I going to make out of this? You know, sometimes it's just telling a story on a podcast. Sometimes it's telling a story on a stage. Sometimes it's writing a nonfiction comic. Sometimes it's writing a fiction comic about what I wished had happened. And so that's just how I live my life is trying to get people as excited about these things as I am. And then, but I didn't realize until these books started coming out that everyone wouldn't agree with that. Because I mentioned about how banned book club is about my wife smuggling banned books in 1980s Korea under a dictator. The reason we got that book deal is that our publisher was shocked. This was in 2017, was shocked at the idea that Korea was only like 30 years away from state banned books. But then by the time we finished the book, not only was the US banning books, but our book became one of them. And now Banned Book Club has been banned in like 4 US states. Occulted has been banned in one state, and they're starting to complain about the others. So, yeah, it's been an interesting look at the world.
You know what? It's funny because people don't even really think about it, right? Your book being banned, right? Your words being censored until it really happens to you. And I don't
Mhm.
know anybody who has had their book banned. You hear about it, and then you're thinking, oh, these are great novelists, great literary works, right? But look at your comics being banned for simply telling a story of the truth,
Mhm.
right? And it just tells you something. Those books bother people. That's why they
Mhm.
ban them.
Well, I mean, a lot of people will say, like, I've never met anyone whose book has been banned. People say my book's never banned, but I've been in meetings. I'm in a group called Authors Against Book Bans, and we get hundreds of authors together to plan how we're gonna, help support kids' right to read. And then every single meeting, there'll be one author that says, "My book has never been banned, but what can I do as an ally?" And
Right.
you'll hear someone in the background typing, and they'll say, "Actually, your book has been banned in 6 states." And like, what? They had no idea.
Wow.
Because what's happening now, when I was a kid, I remember there would be the controversy of one person was mad about one book, and that book would get some attention. Nowadays, there's people who it's their full-time job. They're getting funding to head up an organization. They go into a city council meeting or a school board meeting once a month with a list of 200 books. Those books are all immediately removed, and even the authors don't know it. So it's kind of a
That
big
is
mess in the
scary.
US right now.
That is very, very scary. And so thank you for even shining light on that. If people are interested, Ryan, in you and even the organizations that you're a part of, how do they reach out to you? How do they find out?
If you go to ryanestrada.com, all my stuff's there, all the information about books, all my contact information. And there's also just thousands of pages of free comics you can read because I'm a terrible businessman. And I just put lots of stuff on there you can read for free. And yeah, Authors Against Book Bans, if you're an author, join up. It's a great group, and it's kind of like it's not like you got to join up and you have a full-time job. It's like they'll just keep you posted on what's happening, and if something's happening in your neighborhood, they'll let you know ways that you can help. It's not
And
like
then
you're going to
how do
commit to
we
a full-time
reach
job.
that organization? How do we reach authors of book, or what is it called again?
Uh, Authors Against Book Bans. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's probably just authorsagainstbookbans.com or something. Let me
Okay.
see. Authors Against Book Bans. Yeah, authorsagainstbookbans.com. I was right.
Fantastic. All the information will be in the description. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on and sharing the platform. I really appreciate you and everything that you're doing. I think your work is phenomenal. All of
Thank you.
Ryan's information will be in the contact description, and the contact description will be in the description so you can contact him. So, again, you guys, my laundry list. Number one, if you are an author or creative in this space and you are interested in sharing this platform with me, I encourage you. All the information is on my website. It's very easy. Come and be a part of the Author's Mic, especially if you are an author of color, and I mean any color, because we're underrepresented in this space. So I encourage you to come onto the Author's Mic and promote your work as well. If you are an indie author or indie reader and you support indie authors and indie readers, then join our book club, the IRS. We are looking for a new book to read. So if you're interested, pitch us, because we do definitely support indie authors and we will buy the book. And then lastly, if you are thinking that you want to write a book, but you don't know how to get started, go to my website. I have a free guide for you. It's called So You Want to Write a Book. It is 44 pages of information to help you on your indie journey. And lastly, if you're interested in supporting me personally, I have two books out there. God, hopefully they're not banned. You Sound White and Wait for It, which I could see You Sound White being banned just because of the title alone. Anyway, hopefully it's not banned, but you can go get it on my website or wherever good books are sold. So, Ryan, thank you so much for being a part of the Author's Mic. I appreciate you. The invitation is welcome for you to ever come back. Anything you've got new going on, keep us abreast because I know I'm going to be following you. And, I'm pretty sure somebody out there is probably very interested in what you do. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.